was easier, I think, for Israel to come through that water on the other side because they came on the other side into new territory. Some of us younger ones, you know, I consider myself still a younger one. We sometimes have a hard time in American society living for the kingdom because everybody in the church seems to be living for the world. And so it's hard sometimes to know because we come out of the water and it's all the same territory. And God says, I want you to look up. I want you to live for something else. I want you to love and love and love like Paul did. And everybody in front of you is going to probably reject you. And you're going to feel like you're giving it all and getting nothing back. And I just want you to keep doing it. Because I'm telling you that it's wise. And it's above the world's norm. I want you to passionately pursue my kingdom. Throw down all the crap and garbage of this world and its system and its wisdom, which is really foolishness, but it calls itself wisdom. And I'm so cool and I'm so God that I don't even care if they call the wisdom of the kingdom foolishness, because I'm God. Wisdom is always justified by her children, or the lack thereof. France will be known for her wisdom. Maybe one day it will be overrun by Muslims because they don't believe that they should stop, you know, bearing children. Yeah. But they're wise. They got the old population thing and they're on it. And they're just not having kids anymore. Because they're wise and not foolish. You know what I mean? And we'll see. We'll see. Important, like, to draw a line, because if God's raising up an end-time army, then what you have to know is that, you know, you don't have to drive a fancy car. You don't have to have a huge group of people that support you. You don't have to have some huge house to be a part of the kingdom and ministry. That's not what justifies you. Wisdom is justified by her children. So we come up on the other side. The victory that overcomes the world is our faith to believe that we've entered into a whole new set of rules. Whole new set. It's all different. It's black and it's white. It's different. It's changed. God's ultimately not calling us just to be sons and daughters that are selfish. He's calling us to his heart. He's calling us to be satisfied by him, by his approval of us. Blessed are those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Another version says, blessed are those that hunger and thirst for God's approval, for they will be satisfied. The difference between the old Adam and the new Adam is wrapped up in this. It wasn't the blessing of the Father. It was the satisfaction of the Son in that blessing. Are we truly satisfied? Jesus was blessed and he was satisfied by it. Am I satisfied by the blessing? Because the Father's calling your name and my name tonight in this worship time, and he's saying, you are the sons and daughters of the living God. Let's cut out the BS. Or whatever you say it is of the world and the system. And let's believe again. Let's trust again that if we love and we're found in man lacking, we're not alone. It's all real. It's all real. Whoa. It's all real. And if it's all real, well, then it doesn't matter what people think of you. If it's all real. If it's not real, then we better start pleasing people. But if it is real, then we better stop pleasing man and start learning to hear the voice of God. I was reading Oswald Chambers today, and it said, There's a difference between, he said, there's a difference between endurance and tenacity. Because endurance has no vision of the future. But a tenacious spirit has endurance, and it has a vision and a hope, and it won't give it up. And God's raising up an end-time army that has a tenacious spirit and won't give it up. You're born of spirit. You're born of water. There is a victory that overcomes the world, and it's the faith that they can even take you by blood. That we stand today in our worship, however you see it, whether you see it theologically as a book of things that we read about all these fathers and mothers throughout history that we stand upon theologically, or whether you see it the way I see it both ways. I see it in both ways. I also see this great cloud of witnesses. It's all around us. There were people that knew that they were born of spirit, born of water, and born of blood so much that it was instinctive to begin to bless their persecutors even while they were being persecuted. God, give us an end time people, sons and daughters of the living God, that know who they are. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be competitive. We don't have to be jealous. We don't have to be looking over. We don't have to even fight for ourselves. Whoa. Yeah, that would be awesome. Whoa. A tenacious spirit that you don't give up, you don't give up, you don't give up, you don't give up because you know it's right. We're going to be raised not by people that run away from the church, but by sons and daughters of the living God that are right in the middle of the church. And we're calling on our fathers that are 60 and up, and we're saying, show us the other side. Show us wisdom. Show us the truth. Cut the crap from our life and our churches and our homes and show us what it means to be sons and daughters of the living God. There's fathers and mothers all over the nation. I believe my father and my father-in-law were both touched by the charismatic renewal. One of them that swept through the Protestant churches, and one of them that swept through the Catholic Church. A couple of years ago, I'm sitting with my father-in-law, and I said, what's going on in your life? And he said, you know, Jay, I feel like all those years I lived in community back in like the early 70s. He goes, you know, I just got into business and just got into the world and just got into doing stuff in this last 4 years because, you know, the church kind of corked us and we didn't know what we were doing and people were going to feel the Holy Spirit. Kids are coming off the street, you know, we're all living together being weird, you know what I mean? And it's crazy, you know, and he goes, and all of a sudden it's over and you just get it corked. And he said in this last 3 or 4 years, I just feel like something's been uncorked. So we got all these fathers and mothers that are being uncorked. And that uncorkedness, it's a vulnerable place. Now listen to this. And everybody knows that's ever heard me before that I've spoken hard about the need for fathers and mothers. But the Lord this year has been showing me this. He said to me one day, he said, the breakdown has always been with the sons and daughters. I said, that was hard for me to digest because I was on this father-mother thing. And all of a sudden, it's like one day in my worship room, God says, but the breakdown's with the sons and daughters. And then he began to show me that he was the perfect father. And it all started with that vulnerability and that desire to be with his children. And we rejected him for a king. He started to show me that's what we've done in our churches when instead of having fathers, we'd like to have some slick preacher. We'd rather have some slick musician. We'd rather come to church and be entertained in the midst of our idolatry, not by what's going to lead us into wisdom as young people, but what's going to lead us into bondage and literally living like Ishmael.